Oh, geez.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of 10K on the Bay. This is the Monday Mastermind call. What's going on, guys? Thanks for stopping by. Today, we're going to go over how to manage different ships at the same time because we all know it's busy. Everyone is doing multiple projects now. How do you maintain one project when you add a new project? We're going to talk about maintaining multiple things. Why don't we start with Prince? When you start a new project, what do you do and how are
Okay,
you?
so I'm good, first of all. Hope you guys are doing well too. So the first thing I like to do is I like to prioritize what I'm good at. So first you have to kind of figure out what you're good at. So prioritize your strengths. So you do that by knowing what's the most potential in. So let's say eBay, I know potential could be maybe 300K next year. I'm gonna put most of my energy into that before dabbling into something smaller and trying to build that up. So I don't want eBay to fall at the same time while I'm trying to build something else. I'm gonna try to make this the best thing for eBay, and then I'll start working on something else. So that's what I do as far as maintaining more than one thing. And for me, like I try to do something different every single couple months. I don't stay in one boat and just stay there the whole time. So
Mary, what do you think? There's a lot of stuff to do out there. How do you manage potentially doing a new project?
Yeah, my newest project for now, at least starting this year, I want to work more on my branding myself. So I have a little side project I won't release till later. I'm working on right now because that's so new. I prioritize that to be the very first thing I'm doing, and that took most of last week. Just getting back onto eBay. I also wanted to incorporate Amazon more this year, and for Amazon, I think what makes it easier is to put that after eBay because eBay is my primary source of income at this point. And so I live with my boyfriend, and my boyfriend has a 9 to 5 job, or not really. It's more like works from home, but his phone calls stop at 5. So we made that to do Amazon after 5 p.m. So whenever I'm done with eBay, which would be hopefully till about 4 to 5 if I do like the morning shift, and when he's done with labels now. So hopefully that schedule gets us into more controlled, it's a little freezing, into more of a controlled schedule so that we can separate the morning for eBay for myself and his work, his full-time job, and focus on Amazon private labeling in the afternoon. And then somewhere in there, I still haven't managed it in, but do my the projects that I'm working on, my branding, somewhere in between.
Anybody have any feedback? Do you give yourself a reasonable timeline when you start a new project? Like let's say private label or a personal brand. Do you say like, I'm going to try it for a year, regardless of what the results are like, or how do you determine time frame?
What I'm working on now is do it this year. So as long as I get started, because it's something that I've put off for a while, it's something I wanted to do. As long as I'm starting, which I have this past week was the starting point where I said, I don't know why it took me so long to do this. So I think just getting out this year was an accomplishment, and that's getting started. As if it works out, if it doesn't, it's something I wanted to do. So no time frame necessarily. It's just going as it goes and seeing where it ends up. Kind of like how this Instagram started. I just started sharing my journey, and I didn't know this is what it was going to come to, meeting new people, gaining so much knowledge from everyone, and then followers and viewers and people that actually want to know about my journey. So that's kind of what the perspective I'm taking for this, where I'm doing it because I want to do it, because it's something I wanted to do, and I'm just going to let it ride out and see how long it goes, as long as I enjoy doing it.
That's awesome. I mean, selfishly, I picked all of you guys because I feel like you have strong personal brands. All of us are in the development stage, but I mean, that is something that I look to because I think it's all part of e-commerce. I think your personal brand does matter overall.
I agree.
Cool. Let's go with Kevin. Kevin, how are you? How do you manage multiple projects, and how's 2018 so far?
Oh man. Well, I already know 2018 is going good for you guys, but so far for me, it's been good. I've been on top of new things that I wanted to implement, which was being on top of my books. That was something I wanted to do more of. Being more consistent with the business as far as time scheduling, and just making sure that I put most of my time into listing items and not slack off that way. I don't know if anyone saw my recent post. I put up like 80 listings in the last couple of days. I've been working with Tech and Sports. I think I'm saying that right. he's like ridiculous with it. He'll like work on like 17 active listings at the same time. Like he'll have 17 tabs open and just work on them. So I've been doing it today. I was up to like 11 at a time, and I was just like, I don't even know which one I'm working on anymore. But yeah, so spending more time listing. I think today I spent like 4 hours. I know, Chris, you like to do it like in little segments. I like just go in and then I'm done for like the whole week. I even try to like space it out where I can list some things different days just to make sure that it's not all on one day. But yeah, just be more consistent with each thing. 2018 is going well. I got a couple of things I like to work on the side, but it's mainly for me about just making time for the things. Big thing for me is the gym, the food prep, eBay. Obviously, I have a regular day job. I got a girlfriend. I got this house and then another one I'm working on. So
And
it's
you have
like
a dog, I think.
we have a dog. Yeah, he's cool. I think he's a year and a half now. So he's fun, and he's getting to the point now where I don't have to worry about him as much. When he was a little puppy, it was like ridiculous. But I'm sure you guys know, some of you have kids, and oh man, it's ridiculous. But yeah, you just got to spend time in different areas and make sure that you schedule time out beforehand and just get it done.
Also, I think you guys are in the Facebook group, but if you're not, add me because add me as a friend, because Tech and Sports is going to be the admin. So you can go there and ask a bunch of questions that he's going to answer, because he's a listing machine. And he's actually where this advice came from. He reached out to me and said, hey, I see you're doing Patreon. I see you're doing YouTube. I see you're doing eBay. You're not allowed to let any of those 3 children go hungry. So like, you don't go to sleep until all 3 of those are fed. Make sure that those are going up. Don't let any of them drop, because trying to recover is so hard. If you let one drop, you'll lose interest. You won't want to come back into it. You'll lose momentum, and it's not the way to do it. You got to keep it going, and then you'll get better at the tasks to maintain it. And that way you'll get more time to do on other projects, to the point where he says he's bored running like multiple businesses and 70 listings a day and all that stuff, because he's mastered it to the point where it doesn't take very much time.
Right. And you know what I've noticed since being here for the past 2 weeks with you? I have the same amount of responsibilities, whether I'm here or back at home. But for some reason, for the past 2 weeks, I've done more work here than I've done in the past like 4 months back at home. And there's absolutely no reason for that. Just being, I guess, getting out of the comfort zone. I think that was a big deal. And so I'm going to try to implement that when I get back, try to do different things, make more challenges for myself and do all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think it's important to be in positive groups. Go ahead, Mary.
Yeah, I was going to add to Prince. I think when you surround yourself by people who are actively doing things and inspire you, and that triggers you to do more. And I think this group does that a lot for me, where it's like I leave these mastermind calls feeling so excited, so ready to drop content, so ready to work, ready to list, ready to get my books done. I mean, I just do more than what I'm normally or scheduled to do when you're surrounded by people like yourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I think this kind of business, eBay, e-commerce in general, online stuff gets really lonely, especially when people around you don't understand it. Then you're kind of just all alone in the dark, and you're like, okay, crap. And you lose motivation very easily. You don't even notice it.
Yeah, that's 100% true. I don't think anyone ever catches on to that.
No, and you just level up so much when people around you trying so many different things, and it is a journey. And I also think we're still in the first inning. There's a lot to go. So let's get into Ashley. How do you manage multiple projects? And you also have momhood. So talk to us about that.
Yeah. So, even though Q4 was really good for me this year, I felt the most peace lately, just taking a step back and reassessing, because I had that whole year of doing eBay, Amazon, Instagram, YouTube, local sales, like all this stuff. I had like my foot in everything for a while, and I only have 10 to 15 hours a week to play with, because I am full-time with my kids, except when they're in preschool, 7.5 hours a week, which is, nothing. So, I definitely want to put my relationships first. I think I put them second a lot of the time, because I really had to get this order out, or I really had to list this thing, or there's a mess in like a death pile in my living room that I need to get done. The kids can just watch a movie while I just work on that. And like, to me, that's just not, after taking some time, I was like, that's just not the kind of mom I want to be. So yeah, I think that putting my relationships first, realizing that even though I'm excited about all these opportunities, Chris, like you've told me, eBay will always be there for me. Like when I want to come back to it hardcore, when the kids are in school, when they're older and can take care of themselves more, like my children are 3 and 5. They're still really young. They need me for most things, to wipe their bums when they go potty, you know, like they need me for everything. So yeah, like I feel very excited about letting go of eBay right now for the most part. And then I sold off all of my inventory to my Instagram following, which I'm really grateful for. Actually, I'm so grateful that I had that outlet to like sell to, because even though like I didn't make any money, I still got I got money back to now invest in private label, which I just listened to a podcast this morning, and it's a guy who does he has 10 to 15 hours a week. Because he has 1,000 other businesses. He's 29. He's like you, Prince. Like he reminds me of you. And he just said like he invests in private label, and he's doing 200 to 300K a month on Amazon just from those hours. And like we talked about, you know, that's where I feel the most excited, and I feel like I can maximize my time the best, not have clutter in my home, because that is something that disrupts my family's like space and like feng shui, I guess, if you want to say. Like it's really like having, not to like, sorry, talk a long time, but like when I released all of that inventory, I felt so much peace again. And I don't know, I have a small house. I have like, we don't really, like my garage is taken over by car parts, and then my bonus room was taken over by inventory. Like to have that kind of out felt so peaceful, and I felt like myself again. And I don't think I realized the burden it was on me until it was gone. So it kind of, I gave myself a full year with eBay to see how it worked, how it did with me. And I mean, the numbers don't lie. I spent so much time on eBay. And I probably, it's not that I'm not saying eBay is not viable. Obviously, because of all of you making gazillions of dollars, it is. I don't know if I was picking the wrong inventory or what, but I spent lots of time, had about 16,500 in total sales on eBay, and then almost 100,000 on Amazon. And so I thought, you know what? Amazon's my niche. It's my strength. I'm going to focus on that. And I think by removing eBay and just focusing on one aspect of Amazon, no more retail arbitrage, no more online arbitrage, just private label, I can focus on my family and feel that peace again. I don't know if that was a really long tangent and that made any sense. Hopefully it did.
No, I think it's good. I mean, I put that video up that said, what is your ideal eBay business? And a lot of people responded, no eBay business. I want to only do Etsy or Poshmark or whatever they like more, because, you know, you want to make sure the juju and the feng shui in your house is all good. You don't want clutter ruining your life.
Right. I think Ashley made a really good point about how holding the inventory and stuff like that. It's like, it's stressful. Because right now, like while I'm here, I have like a lot of inventory at home around that needs to go. And a 16-year-old, my brother, is handling all of that. So it kind of gives me like this kind of, you know, this nervousness inside 24/7. But I think what most people don't realize is that eBay is just a great foundation for you to start. You don't have to do eBay your entire life. It's a very easy business to start off. And it's also pretty reliable, things like that. So it's a good foundation for you to go and do other things. So like, you know, I do eBay, but I also started like researching into other different things. Like I do a little bit of affiliate marketing. I want to do a little bit more Amazon, you know, things like that.
What's up, Kevin? You have some thoughts?
No, that was a great point. I think that it's like eBay can teach you a lot of the fundamentals of what you can translate into any other business. Another nice thing is if you get your eBay to a point where with Prince, he has a lot of replenishables. If you get your footnote or, you know, yourself situated in a certain niche or whatever, you can expect a certain cash flow. And cash flow is better than having, you know, anything. Most of the times people are like, you know, talking about savings that they've piled up, but I would rather have a stream of revenue consistently turning over, and even if it was a small amount that I could always expect to do a certain thing. You can do a lot more with that. Just gives you a lot more opportunity. And eventually, once you get it to the right place, if you learned every process from step one to step whatever, you know, till the very end of it, you can then teach somebody else to take that over for you, and then the business can run itself, and your time's freed up to do bigger and better things. Like Prince right now, he hasn't even been at his house for like 2 weeks. His business is killing it. So if he wouldn't have done that groundwork and gotten to know each process inside and out, he wouldn't have been able to pass that knowledge on to, his brother or whomever it is that is filling in for him. So it definitely is a good way to learn and get some of the groundwork done for any business in the future.
And I just want to bring up one more point with that, which is I've had, I did a lot of reviews over the last couple of weeks in a lot of really high-end stores. And the feedback I was getting from them is if you take hard choices when it comes to sourcing, like you develop the relationships or you go to the manufacturer for private label, whatever, all e-commerce is similar. You put the work in up front and it makes your overall e-commerce life easier. But if you put a short amount of time in sourcing, you just get whatever's convenient, then in the long term, your e-commerce life is harder. So it's like you put the work up front, getting consistent supply, because then it doesn't matter what channel, whatever channel is the most profitable. You might be a huge Amazon seller, but if Poshmark yields double, you're going to learn how to sell on Poshmark. That's just how it works. So, as we're shifting towards being physical products companies, I think it's cool to realize that. So Ben, thanks for joining. Today we're talking about balancing different projects. So when you start a new one, how do you, or if you're trying a new niche, how do you keep your existing niches intact while you start something new or test something? Do you have any feedback on what you do when you're trying to start something new?
Yeah, can you hear me all right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that is a tough question because I am working actually on another project right now. I'm starting up a new YouTube channel. So I've been working on some video and putting some stuff together. I do have a partner I work with in Florida, which that helps is having a partner.
You are a little bit soft, but go ahead.
Any better now?
A little better.
Okay.
Yep.
I'll talk louder. So like I do have a partner in Florida, so that helps. But yeah, it gets tough. It's just the problem is when you start something new, you get really passionate about it. And so you're already doing something, say like the eBay business, and you have it going and you got it going well. And then unfortunately you don't want to ignore it because then you start ignoring it, you got to push it aside because you just got this energy and you're all psyched up about this new project you're doing. So what I try to do is I'll try to like just pick certain days. Like, okay, so today I am going to work on this and for an hour or two, and then I'm going to jump back here for an hour or two. So I just try to manage my time better and jump back and forth with it in between it, because like I said, it's tough. You just get like the shiny new object feeling. And unfortunately that pulls a lot of people away from what's actually making them money a lot of times. And they start chasing something else and they never complete what they started. So what I do is, like I said, I just try to focus. I try to split my time up. I'll say, like I said, I'll spend an hour here, then I'll spend an hour there, and see where I need to put my time. And the shiny new objects, I'll do less time on that because I know my time is better spent here at the moment until I have that brought up and I can try to automate things as well.
No, I was just saying that it is interesting to look at the overall value of things over time, meaning like if you decide to start a YouTube channel, it sort of has a endless ROI because people keep viewing the video over and over again forever. Whereas if you were to flip, let's say, one off from the thrift store, it's one and done. You don't get to keep making money off of that. Amazon also, if you put the work in for a private label, potentially you could sell for a long time until the brand dies. So it is interesting balancing that. It's hard to determine the lifetime value of things, but that is something definitely to consider when sourcing. Cool.
Chris, sorry. Yeah. Okay. I personally, I do plan on keeping my eBay, like even though I liquidated most of my inventory, my clothing inventory, I'm going to keep it alive by doing multi-channel fulfillment with Amazon. So you can just, I mean, I think we've even talked about this before, but if with all my carpets that I have, which is over 600. That's fine. I'm sending them to Amazon because I got ungated. And now if anyone orders them on eBay, I can just go to my Amazon inventory, select the item that was purchased on eBay, and ship it to that person using multi-channel fulfillment. So that is one way I can like not just let eBay completely crash, burn, and die. So I don't know like if that was what you were going for. I guess like and then I can focus on and at the same time, because I have all of that inventory that's gonna slowly sell over the next year, I have consistent, I mean, granted long tail income coming in over the next year, because they won't sell right away, but they'll sell one here, one there over time. And like I talked about, when I obtained all this inventory, I spent $4,000 and it could potentially sell for $50,000. So that's like a decent, if I didn't do anything else and that sold throughout the year, that's like a part-time job, you know? So it's kind of nice to have that slowly trickling in as I work on private label. I have a little bit of cash flow continuing to come in. So.
Ashley, were you the one that said you wanted to involve your kids with eBay?
Yes. Yeah.
I think that's an amazing idea. Not only to obviously make a little bit of money or whatever, but I think for a foundation for them to learn e-commerce or just sales in general, I think that's amazing. Mm-hmm. I really think that's a good idea. And you'd be able to spend time with them too. So it's a win-win-win-win.
Exactly. That's exactly what I thought too. Like I wanted them to, I mean, I was debating just having them open their own eBay store, Calvin and Graham's eBay store, whatever. But they're going to learn to take pictures. I mean, they're only 5 and 3, but they're smart. They're very technologically savvy. Like I think kids just are in this world, and they can tap screens and they can pick, they can read kind of. So yeah, I think I'm excited for them to see, okay, when you sell your toys, well, let's get your Legos out and let's do by the pound, because am I sorting those into their kits again? No way. And then just they can see, okay, I made $26. Okay, now kids, let's go to the thrift. Let's see what we can find. Or let's go to garage sales. What can we find to sell again? And then how much can this grow? I would not be surprised if they caught the bug because their mom's insane. And then they paid for their college or paid for their first house or whatever. I bet you by the time they graduate high school, they'll be like, college schmollage. I have enough money to and I have my business going, and like, who needs it? So yeah, I'm very excited. Thank you for that validation. But I am very passionate about teaching my kids how to do this, because I think it's the future of business.
How old are your kids?
5 and 3.
5 and 3. Yeah.
There was I saw 2 9-year-olds at Panera Bread talking about product placement, because they were like, where's the kids stuff? And the guy was like, oh, it's over here. And they're like, we're not very tall. We can't see that. Like, who's in charge? I was like, what are you talking about? But they know right away that they're like, we want stuff right now. They're used to getting stuff right now already. Even at that age, they're like, if we want stuff, why isn't it visible for us?
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. It is insane.
And like, same with, I mean, you had mentioned, Chris, like your YouTube channel, you could make it a kid's toy review channel if you could, or something, And I was thinking about my own kids. If I don't, you can hear them screaming. If I don't it would be cool to have them track their journey as children entrepreneurs and showing what's possible, showing their process, because they're very outgoing. They bounce off the walls. They're completely crazy. But I think it'd be fun to also document that maybe for YouTube. But I don't know, like getting their permission. I don't know. I don't want to be like a stage mom. All of a sudden be like crazy, like Honey Boo Boo's mom, like blow up and go crazy. I don't know. So
well, yeah, kids also don't understand limitations like adults do. They don't know that they can't think big. We've been beaten down by life, and we're like, oh, we'll just take the reasonable route. But kids have no idea. They're like, why can't I have all the candy? So that's just the thing.
Yeah, a lot of billionaires and people with a lot of financial freedom, success. They always tell you to go back to your roots of how you used to think. When you're more creative and more kind of free in life, and that's how you should apply moving forward in business. And I think about it that way as well. So, because when I thought about eBay, I think most people think about it in a small term or short term, or like, a couple grand here and there. But I've always thought about it like, oh, can I do like $1 million a month? That type of mentality has kind of pushed me to reach those goals. It seems a little bit unattainable, but they're actually possible. So
I think of every single platform as a different kind of machine. So it's different things. They're different toys. If you think about it that way, like how do they work? Some toys, a lot of stuff is automated. I would say Amazon is like 95% sourcing, right? If you just get a, very few people who are good at sourcing want to do that, but then, it just depends on your whole model. And I think it's important to realize, again, I just want to reiterate that there's so many different ways to make money. You need to make sure that we explore all of them. We're physical products companies. We are now personal brands also. And it's the same thing. Like if we wanted to, because of social media, if we wanted to exit out of a platform, you can level up and quickly liquidate inventory. If you wanted to start a new platform, you could literally ask people who are really good at that platform to guide you. That's not a thing before. People wouldn't share their ideas with you.
Actually, I have a question. I'm kind of curious because Chris just said Amazon is 95% sourcing. What do you think about that since you're more into it than all of us?
Sorry, let me know if my volume, I just noticed the chat. My volume's really loud, sorry. So I do think it is 95. I would say it's mostly finding the right product. Once you do find the right product, just ignore the background noise. Then it's literally just pumping inventory in, and Amazon does everything. So it's very little involvement for me. As long as once I scan it, if this is even just retail arbitrage, but once I scan it, bring it home, send it off, package it up, send it to the warehouses, I'm done. I don't think about it again. So yeah, I would say it's pretty 90%. I would say 90%.
90%. But there is a lot of back-end work that goes into it, like all the product data research and, finding the right supplier, find the reliable supplier, all that kind of thing. Because I think I was telling Chris the other day, I have a log of, I've bought over 600 GoPros locally, flipped them one by one, and I've logged them all in an Excel sheet. And I've done that kind of to figure out what product I want to go on with eBay and kind of, go niche specific. So a lot of people don't know that I've done a lot of back-end work and I've kind of put in the hours that I needed to figure out that this was the niche I wanted to do. So, applying that on Amazon is kind of similar, same thing.
That's a good point. He looks like he just started, but really he's been doing this for years. So it's not I find that out when people make it look easy, it's really because they've been doing it for a long time. So I think this is the same with Kevin also in the shoe game. He's not brand new to it.
Yeah, I want to throw this in there too. Don't neglect all the 17-year-olds out there trying to making money right now, because they've been in this game for a lot longer than most people have right now. They grew up in this online world. Don't neglect them. They know a lot more than we think that we do. It's crazy. So I think just business in general is getting a lot younger. What do you think?
No, there's a 14-year-old I interviewed that's trying to make $100 a day. I'm like, that's what adults make. A lot of adults make $100 a day. And she's like, I don't have any rent. I'm going to pay tithing. I'm like, what are you talking about? So
she's like, Christopher, I have no monthly nut. I have no expenses. I'm good. No responsibilities.
It was insane. And then also kids are really good at reading people. They can see the stress on their parents' faces for finances. So, I think it's different now. Kids can see it. So, and from what I have seen from the emails coming in, people's jobs are being eliminated. That's something that is not really talked about. A lot of jobs are being automated right now. So there's a lot more people with a lot less options. Understanding e-commerce is sort of like a safety net. What do you think of all this, Ben?
Yeah, no, I think you're right. Spot on with that, because it is. Unfortunately, you go to down from where I work, they just put in a new McDonald's. Well, actually, they didn't put a new one. They remodeled it. So you go in there now, it's all kiosks. There's only one person out behind the counter, and the rest you just do. That's what I'm eating. So it is. They are eliminating the human, connection in a lot of places because of technology, unfortunately. But fortunately for us, that's also opening other doors as well. So, our kids growing up, so now you're going to want to be the person that's programming these kiosks and programming these robots. And so there is other doorways, avenues opening, but unfortunately for people like you and I, where we're getting up there in our ages, that we're not going to do that. That's beyond us at this point to get into a field like that. Especially for myself. I'm in my early 40s. So if I went to school, started do retraining, by the time I was ready to go in that field, it'd be too late for me, unfortunately. So that's why I like, the internet, e-commerce. I've been doing it for quite a few years now, and affiliate marketing and just Amazon. Like that's my next move is I want to get into Amazon. I'm working with on the YouTube stuff because like you said, it's reoccurring. It's more of a passive income, which is nice. I like eBay, but eBay is very hands-on. Like when I used to have my landscape company, it was very hands-on. I had to be there physically every day to make sure the crews go out, make sure it runs, make sure this is going. Where I like something where I can also step back and it's still running in the background where I don't have to be there constantly on top of it and spend more time with my family, my son, and go places, do things I've never seen before.
Yeah, I think building those passive income sources is extremely important because, one day if something does happen to you and you're incapable of being able to work, then you're kind of in a shitty situation, and you kind of have no choices. But like Kevin said earlier, I think reinvesting your money into their businesses and learning and growing and trying different things is very important. I invest almost 95% of my money. I have a couple grand in my bank account. It's always just cash flow, just go in and out, in and out, in and out. I almost never keep it. And right now I can do that because I have less responsibilities than most people. But I think people should do that as much as they can, for sure. You got to think about it in like a 10-year
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
I think this is also important to realize that even though a lot of stuff's done on e-commerce, still a lot of the relationship building is done in person. So, I mean, we saw, I had some waste removed and it was $240 for them to remove, like a couple of truckloads full of stuff. And Prince and I were looking at the expenses. There's the truck that came. 3 people were on the truck that came. They're all actual employees. They all have insurance. Like that is extremely expensive. Plus they told me it was $80 to $100 just to dispose of that at the landfill. So it was like, those margins are tiny. I mean, even though they made $240 in half an hour, I don't know how much the owner really makes. But again, there's so much stuff done in person still. You can't e-commerce unless drones come pick it up. We haven't figured out that yet, but it is pretty interesting how much stuff's still done in person. But also I want you to talk about Uber Eats, which is like mind blowing yesterday.
Uber Eats is really interesting. I made a post yesterday about Uber Eats not being on the East Coast, and some people corrected me. They're like, it is on the East Coast, but in limited areas. In the Bay Area, they have it almost everywhere. I mean, it's amazing. So I went on Uber Eats. I looked up a code online. Some random person had it. It was like $10 off. So Chris was out, so I ordered Uber Eats. It was like $10 off code. I ordered Panda Express. It was $15. So $10 for the Panda and then $5 for the delivery charge. And I did a $10 promotional code, and it was $5 delivered to me. I'm like, why would I ever even step out of my house if I could do something like this? It makes no sense. And so I looked into a little bit more, and some guy was doing marketing for his Uber Eats code. So people that were searching up codes, everyone looked up a coupon code for Uber Eats. So they found his, and his ranked up a little bit higher, and he's racked up like thousands and thousands of dollars in Uber Eats code. So he scheduled a delivery for food every single morning for the next like 4 months or something like that. And then he just constantly keeps ordering food because it's all free from those codes. That's actually an income source if you think about it.
That's genius. Actually, I'm going to confess something. We ordered 3 times this week from Postmates. It's another
right. I've heard of that.
It's their competitor because we were so busy working that we said we don't have time to make dinner. We don't have time to make dessert. Like we got dessert, we got crepes, we got that affiliates exist like this. I mean, it's possible. And that's the next big thing, right? We're saying there's going to be less people face to face and more computer.
Yeah. And
I went to the I'm renting my car out on the service get around, and paying to go to the post office was $3.70. That's for Uber. It was cheaper to go in an Uber than to drive myself to the post office. And I was like, if I could get into the relationship with just giving it to the Uber driver to deliver it for me, since my post office guy won't do it because his truck's too small. So it's annoying, but it's like that. It's insane it's cheaper than driving. I can't believe that even exists. So you can rent your car out for $30 a day and you only use it twice. It's insane how everything is moving towards that situation. Car ownership here is not a thing. People don't really need to own a car.
That's true.
It is crazy.
The Bay and New York, right? Nobody owns the car then.
Mm-hmm. Everything is going crazy. So does anybody else have any challenges or questions they have for this week? What's up, Kevin? Got something to say?
No, I was going to say too, I mean, not only is it cheaper for you to rent the Uber, but then think about the time you can spend in the Uber on your phone instead of having to actually drive a vehicle where you could like get in an accident or anything else. So.
Yeah,
Right.
you can work on.
You're right.
Yeah, you can craft your Instagram post now, and it is like, it's insane, all this healthy thing. And does anyone else have any other thoughts?
I just want to spiel about kids really quick?
Go for it.
I've already talked about kids a lot here, but like, I am so interested in kids. Like, I want to dig into kids' minds. I mean, these guys know a lot. They kind of know the future and trends of where social media and just the internet is going. And so interesting, like when they get into high school now, what it's going to be like. I think it's going to be insane how things are going to change. Does anyone have any like thoughts about kids right now? I know, Ashley, you have a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old, and like you're probably seeing the most complete opposite of how you grew up. So it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, definitely. Like there's nothing, I'm glad that I stumbled upon this and learned for myself. Like, if anything, that this year doing eBay and Amazon and whatever I've been doing has been so beneficial for me, because all I want to do is pass it along to my kids. We had no financial stability growing up at all. We were kicked out of 14 different houses because we couldn't pay rent, and I had a big family, and it was a nightmare. And I hated feeling that way. Like, I know many of you probably felt similar, and that's what drives you. And that for me, yeah, that was something I never wanted to have my kids to experience. And I want them to know that if you have a computer, a phone, or whatever, you have all the tools you need to make as much as you want, and a brain, your creativity, and like that's something I'm super passionate about. So if I fail at this and fall on my face and make $0, but if I teach my kids how to do this and they can then carry it on to the next generation, that's all I care about. So, because you're right, like Prince, like it is changing so rapidly. I get to work with the young women in my neighborhood for our church. And like, I see the things they wear and the things they do and how connected they are and how like everything's Poshmark, and they're so tuned in to like all these new apps and like social media, and it's just incredible. Like, and Shopify, even setting up their own Shopify stores and selling things, like they already at 16, 17 are doing this. And so I don't know, I'm just like, I would love for my kids, as young as they are, to get into that. Like, if they like get B's and C's in school, I almost am like, whatever. I mean, I want them to get A's because my husband and I both got A's, but like this is more important to me, that they learn entrepreneurship. So
that is so interesting. That's the first parent I've ever heard saying their kids are okay with getting B's and C's. I mean, that is almost unheard of. That means like there's a massive paradigm shift going on. That's insane. I'm excited for it, to see it. I'm going to be like that old grandpa who's like, back in my days, I did eBay. And I want to be like, shut up. Boom, boom, boom.
Well, and this is coming from a school counselor. Like, I'm a school counselor, and I'm like, B's and C's are fine. Not really, but like, you know what I'm saying? You know, I want my kids to try their best, and I'm going to harp on them for getting A's. But like, I don't know, like I just feel like it doesn't concern me like I think it does many others, because I see my husband, he's in the rat race and he's fine. He's working up the corporate ladder. He works at a big company. His time is not his, and he's actually fine with that. He feels comfortable in that. Entrepreneurship would terrify him, and it would be awful. I'm crazy, so I don't care. But like, I want my kids to know that they have options. If they don't want the 9-to-5, they don't have to have it at all. If they want to be financially free at 25, they can be, if they work really hard and really smart. So the end of speech, off of my little pedestal now.
No, that's awesome, man. Because a lot of parents, like myself growing up, we weren't taught that. We were taught, go to school, work hard, get a job, and then hopefully you can retire. And I don't like that mentality, because it just, like you said, puts you in a rat race. I'm back in the rat race. I did have my full-time landscape company, sold it, got back in the rat race. I'm in corporate rat race, and I'm trying my hardest to get back out because I can't stand it. And I don't want my son to see it. And I don't want because my son's 9 years old, so he's in 3rd grade now, so he's coming up fast. And I try telling him, like, dude, you can do so much now these days. And he's already good with computers. It's just he's born with it. I mean, he's 9 years old. He's got an iPhone. It's like, I don't have to worry about him. He's always texting me, Dad, what are you doing? I'm at work. And I'm like, dude, I'm at work. Leave me alone. But it's great, and it's just, I think that's awesome, bringing your children up so they in a different point of view, in a different light, instead of that whole, because pensions are gone, 401ks are terrible half the time. So look at all these people that, in 2008 that lost everything, that were on the verge of retiring at 55, 65 years old, and now they're stuck. Where are they going to go? Nobody's going to hire them. I mean, they're not saying they're not bad workers, but there's kids coming into their fields that are working for half the money. So unfortunately, they're screwed, and I don't want him to be in that position. I don't want to be in that position on that note.
That's also, there are kids entering the market that are paid half as much with twice the skills. That's the scary part. They're like 4 times as effective because they've hustled just existing.
Yeah, these people that have been in these fields for forever, they expect a certain amount per hour, whereas these kids that could do the job twice as quickly and their expectation is so much lower, it just doesn't make sense. It's crazy.
And I've heard, a few different things from younger kids, like, because I've been hiring VAs and photographers and looking for different things, and they'll ask questions like, how could I be twice as valuable so I could get paid twice as much? Because they're not even expecting to get paid more without delivering twice as much value. And that's not a normal conversation that people used to have. Now it's like, how I want to deliver the maximum value in the shortest amount of time. What if we do the 40-hour week in 4 hours and then do that 10 times? So it's insane. Cool. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for stopping by this week. Appreciate your time. Oh, yeah, last thought. Go ahead. Oh. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, you're good. You're good, buddy.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say the last thing. I was just reading something the other day that was most of the people in our generation are more focused on their own time and achievement and personal relationships than they are by money. So it's crazy that shift's happening, and a lot of people are, more people would work harder for a longer vacation or something like that than they would for extra money or a bonus or something. So it's crazy.
Is that actually true though, or is it because we're all kind of tunnel visioned right now? The people that we're surrounded with, we see them this way, but are most people actually going towards that path? That's what I thought about the other day. I'm like, I don't know. Is everyone really changing, or is it just the people around me that are changing?
It could be. I mean, it could be a generational thing. It could be that, maybe it's more of the people that are actually more vocal about it feel that way. I don't know. It's just, I think that a lot of the times with, even at my job, when people are, offered something as far as finances are concerned, like, hey, we'll give you an extra $50 if you can do this. But more than anything, they would be more motivated if they were just told, hey, you're doing a great job at this. Could you do this again for us in this way because you're so good at it? The $50 or $100 or whatever, the additional wasn't really what mattered to them. That pat on the back verbally from someone they didn't expect to get it from was really what pushed them through. And I think that, like, in that situation, it could be with anything. Like I said, vacation, I saw was one of the top things that people look forward to, and that motivates them. Maybe it's time with family. So it depends. But money is like the 4th or 5th in our generation as far as prioritized motivation.
Go ahead.
Oh, you got it.
I was just saying impact is massive. So like Jeff Bezos is trying to take over the world with Amazon. And when you work for Amazon, it's like there's no such thing as work-life balance. It's just pretty much work. And he gets people to work there because he convinces them that the impact is so much larger than they are. So it's fun to be a part of that type of a culture. But he'll say you're not going to get paid as much as other places. The benefits aren't as good. And you're going to live less long, but you're going to be part of something bigger. And it works. So, I mean, it's just kind of crazy that that's so important to people that they're even like jeopardizing, other things just to get that impact.
If they're a part of a bigger story or a bigger picture, yeah, that's definitely something.
Not that I'm saying you guys should do that. Take care of yourselves. Rest well, eat well, be well. Cool. All right, guys. We'll call it for a week. See you guys next week. Appreciate everyone's time. Reach out. If you guys aren't friends with me on Facebook for the new group, Admin by Tech and Sports, add me on Facebook, and I'll get you guys in there, and we'll get this going. Thanks, guys.